Pauwels is every Friday, and today we're talking about personal freedom, and specifically Don Miguel Ruiz and his book, The Four Agreements. Last week we talked about the importance of being impeccable with your word, and today we're talking about the second agreement, don't take anything personally. This is a difficult one, isn't it, Dieter?
This is a very difficult one. I think we have to frame it first. What he really means is that it's like we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are, meaning that everything you see and the way you speak and things you do is always filtered through your own set of beliefs. Mm-hmm. Therefore, it's always a perspective. Because it's always a perspective, it's always limited, right? So when people make judgments about you, it's more about them than it's really about you.
But that's hard to understand or put in context. Let's say that you're at work and somebody attacks you verbally, maybe crosses a boundary or says something negative or toxic to you. You don't take that personally?
It's difficult not to, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult not to.
But the question is it because that person's emotional state at that time? Let's say that I'm having a wonderful day.
Right.
And chances are I might greet people a little different than if I would have a lousy day. Does that make sense?
Right.
So is it about those people or is it about me? It's more about me. Sometimes we project our own emotions onto other people.
Right, but you don't want to be so stringent with this so-called rule that you don't keep yourself open to other people's feedback that sometimes can help you grow as a person.
That is the key, Christine, is that communication is not about dividing other people, it's about building bridges. Therefore, you want to be open to at least listen what other people have to say. Mm-hmm. And then it comes down to social responsibility. It's up to you to decide which voices you're going to listen to, which people will influence you, and you make your own decisions based on that. So you've got to be open to other people's opinion and get feedback.
And respect is important. Respecting other people's opinions. And you only need to look at what's going on in America right now with politics and how divided we are. I think that's a good example of, this is my opinion and mine is right and I'm not listening to yours. All liberals are like this or all conservatives are like that. A lack of cooperation and communication. You need to respect someone's opinion because you said there's at least, two sides to every story? More than two sides.
Always more than two sides. This is about respecting other people's opinions, about tolerance, and tolerance is the way to freedom. Mm-hmm. But we tend to generalize. We say all people are like this, or all Democrats, all Republicans. We're all people.
Right. Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt, but next time someone says something to you and it sounds really, as I said before, toxic, and you don't like it, mm-hmm. It's kind of not, it's sort of liberating for you to think, hey, that's their problem, that's their perspective and where they're coming from. Unless
but don't shut yourself.
You feel a little guilty about, hey, maybe I did do that. Then you should.
Here's a tip you can use. When somebody says something to you, you say, well, and it's kind of negative, you just open a conversation and say, you must have a reason to say that. I'm curious what it is.
Oh.
And then they probably will dig deeper into the real issue, and hey, now you have a conversation.
And that's a great way of not being reactive and not being defensive. But by opening it up and saying, oh, well, interesting you said that. What is it that you're thinking?
If you open up, you take responsibility, ability to respond to the communication, and you might learn something. So feedback is not a bad thing per se.
And it all comes down to communication, doesn't it?
It's the most difficult thing, is communication.
Okay, the other thing is assuming. Next week we'll be talking about that. Don't make assumptions. And I think that this is really intriguing because a lot of times, in your mind, you have a whole scenario of things going on and you're assuming it all and it could be totally dead wrong.
You could be totally dead wrong, and it's a cause of so much hurt in relationships, at work, in careers, because we make assumptions, because we don't ask the question.
Mm-hmm. That'll be a good one.
Next week.
I'm assuming it'll be a good one.
Yeah, I'll assume I'll be here next week.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Dieter. Still ahead at noon.